If you're watching this video, then congratulations, you've started putting together your first ever songs, or you're just about to take that first step into writing your own music and your own material, or you're someone who's been writing for a while and you're just looking for a different perspective on the world and the craft of songwriting. Either way, I'm hoping that you'll enjoy this video and get something from it. My name's Ruby Jones of the band The Exotic Isis Project, and I have been writing now songs for just over 10 years, which is insane to think about, frankly, when I look back to those early days and what I'm doing now and the sort of difference, how different my life is. But anyway, I was thinking back to how I used to write songs back then compared with what I know now and how I write now and how I approach the entire process of building a song, and I thought it'd be loads of fun to create a top 10 style video where I would walk you through my own 10 things that I wish I'd known when I was 14 years old and I started putting my first songs and my first lyrics together. So I hope you all enjoy this video. This is 10 things I wish I knew when I was starting out as a beginner songwriter. Now, my words are by no means gospel. These are not 10 commandments every songwriter must follow every time they put together a song, but it's just things which I found have helped me and still help me to this day when I start crafting new material, and I hope that some of these things will help you as you start on your songwriting journey. Starting off, we've got number 10, which is start off with something achievable, something simple. When I first started writing songs, I was interested in prog rock, and I was interested in these long songs. I was a massive fan of Pink Floyd and Genesis and Marillion and all those bands, and when I wrote my first song, I wanted to write the next Bohemian Rhapsody. I wanted to write the next Shine On You Crazy Diamond. I wanted to write the next Echoes. I wanted my first song to be a 20-minute magnum opus that moved through 100 different time signatures and had all these different chords and moods and melodies, and it was the most amazing, mind-blowing, complicated thing ever made. But the reality is that just does not work at all when you're first starting out. Doesn't mean you can't do it in the future, but when you're first starting out, just start with something really simple. Start with something really achievable. The first song I ever wrote was a song called Etched in the Sand, and it was a verse, chorus, verse, chorus. That was it. The verses were E, B, E, B. That was it, just twice. That chord sequence looped twice, and then it went to a chorus, which is F sharp A, F sharp B, and that was it. The lyrics were so simple and so unbelievably primitive, but it gave me the building blocks, it gave me the license to be able to listen to it back and reflect on it, and it gave me that first ever song. And believe me, the magic of when you listen back to your first recording of your first ever song is a thrill and a memory that you will treasure for an entire lifetime. Now, about a year later, I had not learnt my lesson, and I wrote this really complicated song called NPC for my first band, Big Rooster Jeff. We played NPC a few times live and we recorded it, and at the time it was this amazing opus. It was so good and so cool, and now I listen back to it and it sounds like the most jarring thing that's ever been put together. None of the sections mesh well or flow into each other, and you can tell that we don't even really know how to go from section to section, and we're just sort of flying through it and hoping for the best. So start with something simple. Your first few songs, just a few chords, just G and C, just whatever you feel is right in that moment in time, do it. And I promise, when the time is right, you'll be writing the most big and amazing songs you can possibly imagine. Number 9 kind of leads in from number 10, and that is to use any of your perceived weaknesses to your advantage. Maybe you play guitar but you're not a very technical player. Maybe you play piano but your style's a bit ploddy and you only use these 3 fingers. Or maybe whenever you try and sing, you come out with these low notes and you're not able to do this soaring operatic stuff that you have in your head. Well, use it to your advantage. Write around it. When I started writing songs, and even up until 2 or 3 years ago, I would write things that were way above my range, that were way high up in the clouds in terms of the vocal notes, or I was trying to play something on the guitar or the piano that was just so far out of what I could do and what I could achieve that it always just sounded a bit off and a little bit awkward. But as soon as I just started recording and playing in the style which I'd sort of learned and the style which I'd just established for myself since I was a kid, everything just started to get that little bit better. The day that I decided I'm gonna stop trying to sound like Rick Wakeman, Keith Emerson and Tony Banks when I play the keyboards, and I'm just going to play what feels right to me in the moment, was the day that my life changed forever. I was trying to make things too complicated. I was trying to make everything so flashy and so in your face. But the day that I started using my perceived weakness, i.e. my own piano style and my lower register of my voice, was the day that my songs started to become interesting and started to become really different. There are hundreds of people with really high voices that can do the most amazing melodies, and they can play the most technical guitar solos and the most technical piano parts. But how many people can play like you? Just one. That's yourself. And you've got to harness that energy when you start making music, because that's what people will hone into, and that's your USP as a songwriter. Only you sound like yourself, and only you knows what that sounds like. Number 8 is write from the heart, not from the head. This is something I think about a lot, and something that I come across in a lot of music that I listen to from other artists, in that I can tell that they sat there when they were writing the lyrics or when they were writing the music, and they said to themselves, let's write something clever. For me, this is a recipe for disaster. Never do that. You want to just write what feels right and what feels good in that moment in time. And it doesn't matter about it not being the most Shakespearean lyric you've ever put together. It just matters that it feels good and it's honest. I think we trade in honesty as songwriters a lot of the time. And when I hear a song or some lyrics or something, and it's someone not being honest, that's the thing that sticks out the most and makes me want to go, I don't want to listen to this. You know, when someone's done a really complicated rhyme and they've had the thesaurus out and they've thought, this rhyme is so good, it's so clever, but it doesn't sound good, you know, and that's something to be avoided. So bring it from the heart. That's what it's all about. Number 7 ties into this, and that is something which again took me a long time to realise, that lyrics are meant to be heard, not meant to be read. If you are doing your lyrics and you're looking at them on a sheet of paper and you think, yeah, this is a bit sketchy, this is a bit naff, but when you sing it, you think, this sounds really great or really awesome, then good, your lyrics are right. Your lyrics are right for the song, they are correct. Because, of course, music is meant to be listened to. They're not meant to be read. It's not quite in that same vein as a book or something like that. And if you look at some of the objectively greatest songs of all time and you look at the lyrics on a piece of paper, you think, yeah, this is a bit sketchy. This is a bit naff. The one that I always think of when I sort of talk about this and talk to people about it is Song 2 by Blur. And I think I can't even remember what the lyrics are, but it goes, I got my head checked by a jumbo jet, and you look at that on a piece of paper and you think, that's rubbish. That is awful. That is the worst thing I've ever read in my entire life. But when Damon, I think it's Damon Albarn, I don't even know, when it's delivered in the song, you know, I've heard it at a party, it's just magical, and it's just this most perfect and amazing and awesome moment. So always remember, they are meant to be listened to, not read on a piece of paper. Another tip which I actually got when I had singing lessons when I was younger, and he also sort of gave me a bit of songwriting, was that sometimes it's easier to write backwards than it is writing in a linear order. Now, that doesn't mean that you are going to sort of do some weird looping thing or reverse your song or something like that. It means that if you stumble across a bit, let's say a chord sequence, you're playing the piano and you're singing over the top of it, and it sounds really good, it sounds huge, and then you think, okay, where's my chorus? That's the chorus. The bit that you've just come up with, that's the chorus. And then you can work down. You can think, this chorus is the biggest point in my song, so where do I go from here? Believe me, it's a lot easier to start at a peak that you've just got and write down than it is to come up with a low-key verse and think, I've got to come up with the most amazing high-energy chorus to follow after this. For me, personally, that never works. It always happens where I've got this big bit with these big chords and this big vocal melody that I really like, and then I think, let's take it down. Let's go down. Let's take it to the bottom. Let's write down, and then we can build our way back up to this epic bit we've got already. Number 5 I've sort of mentioned already, and that is, there is no such thing as too simple when you're writing a song. If it feels good, if it sounds good, then that is all that matters. If you've got something that's just C and F, the verse is a C and F and the chorus is in C and F, if it sounds good and you can hum it and it's catchy and it's sort of memorable, then that is great. I've been in far too many situations where people have thrown out even my ideas because they were too simple, or because I don't know, it sounds a bit too much like that. Oh, it's too easy. It's sometimes simple is just the best. If your melody's only 4 notes, if you make it work and it sounds good and it's sort of catchy and it feels good when you're singing it, good. Don't make it ridiculously complicated. If it sounds good, it is good. Keep it simple, keep it easy. There is no such thing as too simple. Number 4, I am still guilty of this to this day, and that is don't worry about the equipment you've got. Just do it and just have fun and just go for it. When I was younger, all I wanted was a recording studio. I wanted mics, I wanted XLRs, I wanted jack cables, and all I had was an upright piano, an iPhone, a rubbish electric guitar, and a tiny little pound shop amplifier, 20 watts, about that big. But the important thing is that you just have a go and that you just try and make something no matter what tools you've got. Just have a go. Back in the day, I'd hold my phone like that and I'd record a piano part and then stop. I'd be in GarageBand, then I'd put a vocal track on and then a guitar track or something like that. I'd maybe play in the bass with my fingers or something like that. But the important thing is that you're making something, that you get these ideas in your head down, because let me tell you from my own experience, you will regret it. I recorded so much music around that time which I just deleted and threw away because I thought it wasn't good enough or I wasn't good enough, and I regret that so much to this day. What I would give to be able to go back and hear some of those early recordings now, to hear how much I've progressed, or just to pick myself up a bit, to think I need to keep doing this. I would give anything to do that. So don't worry about what equipment you've got, just do it. And again, use your disadvantages to your advantage. You don't have a drum kit lying around? Well, why don't you just bang your hands together or just make some weird percussion noises and layer them on top, and that becomes the thing which again makes you unique and gives you a sort of unique voice within your music. Number 3 is take long breaks. And by long breaks, I mean maybe a few hours, maybe a few days. The saying Rome wasn't built in a day definitely is true when it comes to songwriting. You can sit at the piano and you can sort of hammer out an idea for ages and ages, and you just get nothing good. You know that there's something there in the chords that you're playing or the melody that you've started to put together. You know there exists some magic in there, but sometimes you just come away from it. The amount of times, let me tell you, it happened today. I think yesterday I came up with this bass line and this synth thing that went over the top, and I could hear that there was some magic in there. Nothing happened. I tried developing it, nothing. Press stop. I was just milling about today. I think I was in the bath actually, and I just heard the song in my head. I heard the lyrics, I heard the vocal melody, I heard everything where it needed to be. And then I started to piece it together, and it was just magic. And that has happened so many times throughout my life, and I guarantee that it will happen in yours. Don't overwork it. If it's not working, stop. If you've tried everything and nothing's still working, don't think I'm a failure, I can't do this. Just put the tools down, come away from it, and then a few hours later, maybe if you're sort of lying down or just sort of relaxing, it will come. The answer will always reveal itself. And sometimes for me, the answer has not revealed itself for 2 years. I've had riffs where I've sat on them for 2 years, and then only after that time have they made sense and I've been able to add to it and finish it off. Number 2 is a big one, and that's that there is nothing better than a trusted outside ear to listen to your music. Having a friend or a family member or someone who's completely unbiased and who can give your stuff a fresh ear and a fresh perspective is just so unbelievably valuable. When you find these people, they are like gold dust. Keep them around. I've got 2, 3 maybe in my life that I can really trust with raw demos and raw ideas and raw materials that I know if I give it to them, they'll look past the fact that a few of the notes are out of tune on the demo because I'm quickly singing it. They'll be concentrating on the song, and they'll be able to say, yes, this is great, this is awesome, pursue it, or I'm not so sure about this. They'll never say something like that, but they'll say, oh, this is interesting. But when you've got it, they will know. And then it's such a great feeling when you get that back off them. Or conversely, when you've been working on something and you're really unsure of it, and you think, is this any good? Am I wasting my time? You send it off to them and they say, fantastic, really good, I really felt something there. Oh, it's just a wonderful feeling that is very difficult to put into words. So find yourself an outside ear who you can trust, run some ideas past them, some demos, and trust me, those people are so unbelievably valuable. Number 1 is something I still need to listen to myself a lot of the time when I'm sort of feeling down, and that is you will get better at this and you will become a fantastic songwriter. if you stick with it. You will get good at this. You will be awesome at this. You'll be putting together the most amazing melodies and instrumentals. It just takes time. I remember being really discouraged when I was about 15 years old and I was writing songs. My older brother had been writing songs for years and years at that point. He was the god of songwriting. And I once said to him, I said, oh, I've written this thing for the band. It's not very good. And I played it to him and he said, well, it is good that you've written it, even if it's not very good. And I said, why is that? And he said, because the next one will be better. And the next one after that will be twice as better. And the next one after that will be 3 times as better, and on and on and on it goes. And that was such a profound moment in my life, which I still carry to this day, that if I do a song that I know isn't good and never even gets released, I know the next one will be better. The next one will sound better. The next one will have better vocals. It'll be more well written. It'll be more well structured, more original, longer, complicated, etc., etc. You will get good at this if you trust me and keep at it. And keep following these 10 steps which I have laid down for you today. Like I said, these are not the 10 commandments. This is not the Bible of songwriting, but I really hope you've enjoyed this video and you've learned something. Leave a comment below of some of your own personal favourite songwriting tips or advice you've received over the years. I'd really love to hear it, and I'd be really thankful if you shared this video with your friends and subscribe to the Exotic Ices Project YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching me on this rambly tangent of a video. And remember, you are an awesome songwriter. No matter what anyone says, stick with it.